So, having gone to a couple Canuck games and watching hockey as much as I do, and I watch a lot of it, of course, there's something that started to kind of bother me. I remember when you were listening to a game, you could be in the next room, you could be down the hall, and you could tell based on the music that was playing or the organ that was playing where the game was. That's disappearing. In fact, it's probably gone. Like, there were certain instances where I was listening to in Vancouver, and I'm like, I don't see an organist. And one says, like, I don't think there is one. And I'm like, wait, they don't have a real organist sitting there now? I find that weird. I'll be honest, I find that really weird. And I think in the rush to make the buildings big and loud and the stanchions light up, and you've got all this lighting everywhere, and you've got these big, huge scoreboards where you can watch the game, and I'm thinking, if I wanted to watch the game here, I would have stayed home. I want to watch the game, which means looking at the ice. And there are fans who watch the big screen, which is weird. You've paid a lot of money. Watch the ice. You're going to see more watching the ice than you're going to see looking at the big screen. But the music thing really sticks with me, and I'm watching hometown hockey, and there's Tom Cochran playing Big League. Big League is like my pet peeve of hockey, and he says it's about bringing hockey together as a community. The kid dies. If it was a song about a kid who's playing in the big leagues or going to play in the big leagues, and it was this uplifting story, okay, but the fact that it's kind of a hockey anthem and the kid dies halfway through the song? I remember when it started being played at all the hockey rinks, and somebody said, and I think it was somebody on TV who said that the kid dies in that song. Why are they playing it? And now it's become kind of an accepted thing, like, yeah, it's a tradition. And then, of course, you have Stompin' Tom Connors, a good old hockey game, and, you know, that's played everywhere. Hockey kind of needs some new music. I'm not even kidding. And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Tragically Hip that gets played because, of course, you know, with what's gone on with Tragically Hip over the last couple of years. But it just feels to me like there's no... I mean, it's our national sport, and I know the States has center field for baseball from John Fogerty, which is fine because baseball sucks. So center field works perfectly because it's kind of boring and tedious to get through, sort of like watching a baseball game for me. I can enjoy a baseball game once in a while, but I haven't watched an entire baseball game from start to finish since the 90s. I can't. I guarantee at some point I'm going to go, bored, changing the channel. So center field works perfectly because it's kind of a bland song. It's not offensive, but it's about baseball and nobody's dead. And in Big League, somebody's dead. Now, in the hockey song, nobody's dead, but that song came out in what, the 70s? 60s? 70s. I think it was in the 70s, mid-70s. The hockey song's almost as old as me. So I don't understand. I mean, it's our national sport and everything. And then whenever a hockey song comes out, it's usually from some kind of a drifter-type band of miscreants who they're only being played because they wrote a song about hockey. You just grab Mr. Phone here. I think Yvonne's done with, yeah, she's done with... For patrons, you guys will know what I'm talking about here. I was messing around with my phone. We were both on Spotify at the same time. So that was fun. But like if I go through and I just search. Let's go ahead and search. Hockey. So yeah, the hockey song, Stompin' Tom Connors. Some band named Hockey Dad. Hockey. There's podcasts, there's albums, hockey anthems, hockey arena songs, pregame warm-up. I don't know, I feel like we don't have a new song for hockey. One of the things I love about being a Bruins fan is they're still using Zombie Nation. I was kind of upset when I went to the Canucks game, the first one, and I didn't hear The Streets Have No Name. And I know fans got tired of it, because I read it all the time on CDC. We're tired of Where the Streets Have No Name. There's something to a song being helped to identify a team. And to me, hockey almost needs to start identifying itself again. We've got all these cookie cutter arenas, which are all beautiful. They're beautiful. They're, Rogers in Vancouver is a beautiful arena, and it's vertical. And one thing that I noticed with some of the older arenas is their seating's very level and spread out. And in Vancouver, because of where they built it, they had to build it pretty vertical. So you're right over the lower bowl, and there's no bad seat in the house. It's fantastic that way. But in what we're doing, it's like now the music's all techno, and it's all the clapping song I'm okay with, I guess, except when every single city has it. It's like there's no difference. I remember I used to like watching St. Louis Blues games because St. Louis always had great rock music. And I would guarantee Kashmir would come on, and they'd usually play it during a long stoppage, and I could crank the TV up. I'm like, you know what, I may not be a big fan of the blues, but Kashmir's on by Led Zeppelin, and I'll be damned if it doesn't sound great, and if it doesn't sound like a great hockey song. And now, I don't know, it doesn't feel like there is a personality to the music. You can almost hear that each track follows in the same order. You can almost hear that it's somebody who's got, might as well be a cell phone hooked up to the sound system with Spotify, and you just, oh, I'll grab that song list, random. And then you're just hitting play, pause, next, play, pause, next, play, pause, next. You don't even have to look at it, just if you know where everything is on the screen. And like, part of what gets lost in hockey now compared to what it was is that atmosphere. Like when Montreal went from the Forum to where they are now, when they went to Molson Center, some of their atmosphere went. The Boston Garden, the Odd in Buffalo. And people wanted me to talk about Joe Louis. Let's talk about Joe Louis. What are the Detroit Red Wings going to lose by going into this Little Caesars arena? They're going to lose some of that individuality. They had Gary Bettman, the Weasel, on there talking about octopi on the ice and him saying, I'm good with it for tonight. You know what, Gary? The octopi's been around since before you were the guy in charge, and it's going to be around after, when you're no longer the guy in charge. It's nice that you're allowing it. Fans are going to bring an octopuses. I keep saying octopuses. I always thought it was octopi when it was plural, but I guess it's octopuses, which just doesn't sound right. Octopi. Screw them. I don't care what the real word is. It's octopi. So you bring them in. Like, it's not like the rats in Florida. Like, I can kind of understand there's a safety issue, and if you're a fan in the second row and you're going, man, I got some great seats for tonight's game, and some prick in the back decides to throw an octopus on the ice, doesn't quite reach it, but it lands on your head or in your lap, probably sucks to have that good seat. But that's part of the culture. So the way that Bettman was talking, yeah, enjoy this in the Joe, because next year, if you're doing it in the new arena, you're screwed. When you get booted out of the arena, odds are you could get banned from going to hockey games. There could be fines against the team. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do what the NFL tried to do with crowd noise at one point, where penalties happen because of crowd noise. So the fans do something and the team is penalized because of what the fans do. It didn't work out with Seattle very well at all. I could never understand that either. And I can't understand it here. I agree that when it's one after the other, it gets tedious. But when they have a big win in the playoffs and somebody throws an octopus on the ice, I don't have a problem with it. I've never heard publicly a player having a problem with it who plays in Detroit. Notice I said who plays in Detroit. If you're the opposing team and there's an octopus on the ice, you might be kind of pissed. I'm like, man, I hate these fans. I hate that octopus. I hate it all. But you look at Detroit, and what do they have? What do they lower from the rafters when the team comes out? A giant octopus. So the NHL markets it this way, and then they go, well, yeah, we market it this way, and we know the fans like it, but Bettman doesn't, so we're not going to do that anymore. It's baffling. But it's part of what's gone on with the depersonalization of the game. So here's my challenge. Watch a hockey game. Listen to it. Listen to in between plays and the music comes on. Even write down what songs are played. Go to another game. Write down the songs that are played. And you're going to notice a lot of the same songs overlap. And I know you guys are going to say, well, that's just how it is. That's not how it used to be. You went to Chicago, you went to Detroit, you went to Toronto, you went to Montreal. It was different music. there was a different vibe. There was a different atmosphere. And teams really kind of fed on that. Of course, the ice surfaces were different sizes too. You went into the Boston Garden, you're in kind of a tight little squeeze. And the Odd in Buffalo, holy crap, that was a tight little building. It was 200 feet, but it was 100. I think it was 191 feet wide in the Odd, and 192 feet wide in the Boston Garden. So when you factor in Boston and Buffalo usually had pretty big bruising teams, and now the rink is 9 feet narrower, it was fantastic. When the NHL said, all right, all new arenas have to be the same size, I was like, yeah, that's fine. Everybody should be in the same size rink. But baseball has different sized arenas. Football, the field is the same size, but you get a different feeling in different places. You go to Green Bay, you know you're in Green Bay. You go to Foxborough, you know you're in Foxborough. You go to Giants, you play the Giants, you know you're playing the Giants. There's a personal feeling you get with all of that. And that's missing in hockey now. And I really figured that out this year watching Center Ice. Because I'd watch games and I'm like, these are all the same songs. And, you know, when the organ is the same from building to building to building, it sounds exactly the same. And you go, man, I used to just hear that kind of organ music in Toronto. That was so much fun. Maple Leaf Gardens, and you'd hear that organ, and then you go to Montreal in the Forum, and everything was so different. And there'd be French music, and there'd be organ playing there, and it'd just be different. And you'd know. You know, their big thing was always Live is Life by Opus. That was their big one. And you hear that and you go, yeah, we're in Montreal. There's Live is Life. And it was different. And now it just feels like everything's kind of mashed into this ball of muck. And when I was sitting in the crowd in Vancouver, I felt like, I don't know, maybe the fans want to be entertained in the same way across all 30 teams, all 30 areas. Fans, you know, the young fans especially, they don't want to hear all this niche music. They want to hear the same top 40 hits they just heard on the way to the rink. I find that weird. And my other pet peeve is dance songs do not need dance remixes. When I hear a dance song start and then I hear like some frickin' techno beat over top, I'm like, wait, that was a dance song. You can't make a dance remix of a dance song. It's like a metal mix of a metal song. It doesn't happen because it's stupid. And it drives me nuts. Or Your Love by The Outfield. That song started playing and I was like, oh man, I love this song. And then all of a sudden, dubstep shows up. I was like, wait, did they dubstep Your Love by The Outfield? Oh! And that was the most egregious. There were a few songs that did that where they'd start playing like an old song, and it was a good old pop or rock song. And then all of a sudden, dance, techno, trance, let's go. And I'm like, no! Some things shouldn't be touched. Some things shouldn't be messed with. And they mess with it all the time. So let me know what you guys think. Am I the only fan who's noticed this homogenization of music and the experience when you're at the game? So there's no real difference. The giant freaking scoreboard. I remember the Pacific Coliseum. It was a little scoreboard, and it just said score, shots, time left, done. How did you see the game? You looked at the ice. You took your head, you go, that's the time, that's the score. Oh, look, the players are on the ice. I can watch the ice. Some of these arenas, the bloody scoreboards are so big, you couldn't see the ice from the top row anyways. You have to watch the big scoreboard. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm out on an island here. Maybe I'm the only one. But let me know what you guys think. Because we're going into the playoffs, and I hope it's not as homogenous as it's been during the regular season. I want to watch St. Louis and hear Casimir. I want to watch Montreal and hear Live is Life. I want to watch Toronto and just hear the organ music. And I want it real organ music. I don't want it piped in. I don't want it pre-recorded. I want a real experience watching these games. Because Joe Louis got retired today. And again, I'm watching the game and I'm hearing the music in between the plays. And I'm like, oh, that's the same music I heard in Vancouver. And it doesn't feel right. Like, leave that to the NFL. Leave that to Major League Baseball. Let them make the experience the same. The difference, of course, being that in football, fans basically dress up for each area in their own way. You have the Dog Pound in Cleveland, Cheeseheads in Green Bay. Every city has their own thing. And with the Raiders, they have moving trucks. You have your own thing. And in baseball, it's boring, so nobody cares. Everybody's sleeping. You watch a baseball game, and you look at the fans behind home plate, and they're just on their phone, and they might look over at a camera, and then they're back on their phone, or they're talking to the person next to them. Nobody's actually watching. There might be a few guys who are sitting there watching the play, and it just seems like the rest of them are like, I can't believe I'm at a baseball game. Why am I at a baseball game? And is hockey heading there too? Is that the fate of hockey too? Can we not put our phones down? The one thing, I mean, I take pictures when I'm at a Canucks game, and I always say this, whether I'm at a concert or I'm at a game, I like to remember things and experience them. So I'm not one of these hold my phone up and record. I don't know why people do that during concerts, and I don't know why people do it during sports either. But man, it's like, I remember George Carlin, where he's talking about like everybody has to videotape everything. That was just the camcorders. And he's like, don't people just remember anymore? Do you really have to share what you just did 5 minutes ago with everybody? And yeah, that's where we are now. Is that I'm at a Canucks game. I have to share this to everybody so that everybody clicks like on my picture and goes, hey, you're at the Canucks game. I take one picture when I go to a Canucks game. And I don't care when I upload it. And it's of Yvonne and I. If I was there by myself, I wouldn't even take the picture by myself. So, I took video footage when I was at the Vancouver Giants game. I didn't at either of the Canucks games because I was watching the game. So the music could be tied into that. Let me know what you guys think. It's been driving me nuts all season, and I figure that now that the regular season's pretty much over and done with, now we can discuss and vent together. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And is there any hope? Do I have to listen to this kid die in big league until I'm dead? Do I have to listen to the hockey song forever? Is there going to be no alteration from this path that we're on where it's all homogenized, it's all techno dance remixes of everything in music other than Tom Cochrane and stomping Tom Connors? It drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. So let me know what you guys think. Is there hope? Am I making a big deal out of nothing? Probably. But to me, the experience when you're at the arena is big. You're paying a lot of money for that experience. And when that experience doesn't feel different than the experience you're going to get anywhere else, it takes away from it for me. Because I'm old enough to remember how it was at Pacific Coliseum, how it was when fans would be able to sit and talk and the music wasn't booming freaking loud. Does it have to be that loud? No. No, you should be able to hear it. It doesn't have to be that loud. That's the other complaint I have. It's all generic music. It's always the same music, and it's too bloody loud. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all again soon.